Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we've got Peter on Curses versus Matt on Aluren. And it's actually going to be an interesting matchup given that Curses looks to blank a lot of creatures and Aluren is all about those ETBs creating infinite damage, infinite card draw. Well, not quite infinite, you deck yourself, but you know what I mean. We've got a Karn that gets a Force of Will, which is a good thing because a pair of Ancient Tombs means that could have been over very fast. We could have seen a Mycosynth Lattice. Castle Lochthwain adds to Peter's mana base. Oh, but wow, another Karn. This one's going to stick, and this could be very bad. Matt could be locked out of the game on the very next turn. We'll see what he grabs here. He may not want the Mycosynth Lattice in hand. Until next turn. He grabs a Torpor Orb. That's an interesting card here. That would actually stop most of the deck. I mean, pretty much every creature in the deck has an ETB. I guess versus Euro, it just makes it a 3-mana 6/6, which is dangerous. But next turn, Peter's going to be able to tutor for Mycosynth Lattice and drop it. Matt has to find a counter. He digs with a Euro. And this is probably going to be a wrap here if he doesn't have a counter spell. Oh, does Peter not have another mana? Wow, Torpor Orb. So that actually makes this Euro feel really bad. It could have came down as a 6/6 and then Mycosynth Lattice would not have worked. Mycosynth Lattice gets tutored. Dark Ritual. Double Dark Ritual. Never mind. He has them both. Why not? Unreal. He's got Mycosynth Lattice, double Dark Ritualed out, all the power in the world in that hand. As Curses takes it down without a single curse, just on the strength of Mana Acceleration and Karn the Great Creator. Matt finds himself down a game very quickly. Matt's going to be able to lead out here. See Tropical Island toward the front of his hand, playing against a mulligan. And he's got that turn 1 Gilded Goose, legacy playable card. There are plenty of mana dorks in the format. This particular deck prefers to have the Goose as it does allow for recursion on your win condition, Cauldron Familiar. That's enough to get it the nod. And now Collector Oof, which will shut off some of Curses. Probably the biggest thing there being that it shuts off the Mycosynth Lattice asymmetry. Now Peter's deck also will fall victim to Mycosynth Lattice. However, we've got, what is that, it's like a kill spell from Zendikar Rising. I can't remember the name of it. Couldn't make it out there. But it is gonna KO this Collector Oof. And Grim Monolith comes down, being tapped immediately for Trinisphere, so Collector Oof gone for just a second, but already the shields are down. Trinisphere is out. Well, now it's officially out. Matt did get to Brainstorm in response, but for the rest of the game, everything's going to cost at least 3 mana. Does make Magic a pretty easy game. You just count up your opponent's mana. That's how many spells they can play. They can play, until they get to 6 mana, they can play 1 spell per cycle. We've got an Ice Fang Codal flashing in. Chalice at 1 and Trinisphere. Both problems for combo decks, though the Chalice not too bad for Aluren. They can find a way around that for sure. Karn coming down. Force of Will. Oh, it would have been so much better as a Force of Negation. That's one of the strengths of that card, is being able to hardcast it. Perhaps nowhere is that more impressive than Under a Trinisphere when comparing it to Force of Will. Force of Will, definitely the better card in terms of its consistency. And now we've got a Force of Vigor blowing up the Grim Monolith in response to untapping it, and that is a pretty savage Time Walk effect. Whatever Peter had planned, not going to work out. And now an Aluren. One card left in hand. Recruiter of the Guard comes down. Peter, no response. Really, the only thing you'd be worried about there is a opposing opposition agent. That would be a disaster, and certainly could be in Peter's 75. But Baron shows up, returns Recruiter, and now Recruiter can grab Cavern Harpy, and the whole combo can play out again and again, as Matt can quite literally play infinite Cavern Harpies to drain Peter out, no matter how high his life total was. That's exactly how you draw it up with Aluren. Let's see if he can make that happen game 3, or will Curses actually have some Curses show up? Peter on the mull. I want a pregame Leyline. That's an interesting choice. I don't know that I love that here. I haven't tested the matchup. Right off the bat, obviously that impacts Euro, which is a totally valid plan B for this deck. Not quite as strong as Oko was. There were many games of Aluren that just found an Oko riding out victory, pumping out a stream of Elks, backed up by counter magic. Those are some difficult draws to contend with when you've overcommitted to trying to stop the combo aspect of it. And there is an opposition agent. It gets countered by double Force of Will. You can't really ask for much more than that out of a card to get 2 Force of Wills out of your opponent's hand. Karn now shows up. What will he be doing? Peter considering his options. Collector Oof does complicate it. And it looks like a Helm of Awakening, so there's a Leyline on board. If this Collector Oof goes away, then Peter has a lethal combo of Leyline Helm. It's Collector Oof, the only thing holding it together here for Matt. Really needs to protect it. There's a Recruiter of the Guard, grabbing an Ice Fang Codal, and Collector Oof swings in, slaps Karn, feeling a little less loyal. He's got one more go around. Karn able to tick up, make the Helm a creature, at least stop the bleeding. Collector Oof can no longer attack, and now here's Aluren with Recruiter of the Guard. This could do it. This likely will, unless Peter has another opposition agent. He doesn't, and Matt takes it down. Peter not going to make him go through the motions, but it would be the same as we just saw with Recruiter, grabbing Baron, bouncing Recruiter, and then getting Cavern Harpy, repeating that, and then getting the Cauldron Familiar, and then playing your Cavern Harpy repeatedly, as Aluren showing some consistency.